Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem El Shai, Ba'ashem Harakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and shalom to the whole full elect. This is Payal of the GMS London camp, and this is news and prophecy, prophecy and news. Alright, I got an article here from the sun.co.uk, and basically the title reads Shut Down. What would a Tier 5 lockdown look like? And yeah, basically there's talk of us going from the newly made Tier 4 into another newly made Tier 5, all right, over here in the UK, all right, dealing with London, East England, and Southeast England, all right, dealing with the whole of the UK in its entirety. But there'll be, as far as Tier 4, the only people in the UK in it is Southeast and East England in Tier 4. So they're saying that we could move into Tier 5. All right. And let's get into it. So it says just under half the population are under the strictest tier restrictions to stop the spread of COVID, the crown, and all its strains in the UK. However, the daily infection rate continued to climb. However, with the daily infection rate continuing to climb, many are now speculating if a Tier 5 is on the horizon. But what rules would be in place for this level? Okay, that's the question. What could Tier 5 restrictions be? Nobody knows for certain what a Tier 5 would entail, or if the government would even need anything tougher than Tier 4. Okay. However, a senior Whitehall source told the Express, "We are ruling nothing out. The new strain is of serious concern. Tier 4 appears to not be strong enough." All right. So it lets you know that basically Tier 5's on the horizon. Okay. Because when we had the initial lockdown going back to March, there was rumors going on for like 2 weeks or so. People were panic buying. Even I was out there buying extra shit because I didn't know what it entailed. All right. Just for the sake of not being caught out there, knowing that, I'm kind of delving into it, but Apostle touched on this before, and many other brothers, I believe the apostles as well, and other brothers touched on it. But basically, look, we got the vision, all right. So we can foresee the things that are gonna happen, and we can make certain. We can leverage that understanding that we have, that the Heavenly Father's blessed us with, to basically allow us to not get caught with the rest of the people, basically. All right. Not that we're gonna be doomsday preppers, all right, because there's got to be space for the spirit to work. But obviously, we ain't gonna be naive to say, "Oh, we ain't gonna do nothing," because the Lord has warned us to let us know. All right. So anyway, the point being that when that happened, it was panic. All right. But the fact is that all these media platforms were letting it be known beforehand that these things were going to happen. And as you can see, they're in contact with someone in Whitehall, and they've been told that there's a good chance, more or less without it being said plainly, they're more or less saying that, look, Tier 4 is not strong enough. So they're going to have to bring about a new tier. Community Secretary Robert Jenrick was acknowledged that it might be necessary to take further action to stop rising infection levels. On Christmas Eve, the PM refused to rule out a third lockdown as the death toll surpassed 70,000. Despite no confirmation, many are guessing that Tier 5 could mean a total ban from leaving the house for non-essential reasons, all right? Under Tier 4, pubs, bars, and restaurants are still allowed to operate as a takeaway facility. Some think a tougher restriction will see these shut, leaving only essential shops open like supermarkets and pharmacies. Under Tier 4, you can't mix indoors with anyone outside your household or support bubble, but you can meet one person outside in a public place like a park. It's predicted that if another tougher tier is to be introduced, then this luxury would be banned. Would this luxury would banned. Well, I guess they mean would be banned. Right. Some have even been pointing towards Italy's initial lockdown, which saw people banned from even going for a walk outdoors. In the England's tier four and can leave home for permitted reasons like traveling to work or education. But many are wondering what will happen if the cases keep shooting up. Will working from home and school closures become compulsory? All right. Politico has reported that health experts advise the Prime Minister to assert stronger measures, including closing secondary schools as well as pub and non-essential shops. However, for now, nothing is for certain. All right, so that's letting you know that basically we're gonna go into that top tier lockdown. All right, which especially in a time of winter, it's cold, it's at its peak, and this is gonna rattle a lot of people's minds. All right, because really what they're doing is they're chipping away at the people. All right, they're, through the spirit, and really, in order to implement the new normal, they need to um basically um no, that's not the word to say. They basically, chipping away at people's morale, basically, to put them in a position where they just come begging on their knees for a new system to be put in place. Which areas are under tier four? 6 million more people moved into tier four on Boxing Day, after those already under the tightest coronavirus restrictions celebrated a coron crown Christmas. All right. Sussex, Oxfordshire, Suffolk, Norfolk, and Cambridgeshire moved to tier four, created in a response to a highly concerning variant of the crown discovered in the UK, a new contagious strain from South Africa. And as I said it before, hey, when it came out in March, or going back to the beginning of this year, whenever, they basically were talking about as many different strains. There's like 20 odd in China anyway. All right, in Wuhan alone, they said there was 18 or something like that. All right, so this shows you that. Are you telling me this whole time there was and people were going back and forth? One colleague of mine at my former job during that time, she came back from over them sides, all right, the Orient, the Far East, and she had no problems. We thought she wasn't gonna get back. She made it. She got back over here with no kind of qualms, all right. And the reason why I'm saying that is, in why hasn't these variants popped up, and how is it coming out of South Africa? If the place that was a hotbed for it, it should have been going all around the place. How has it now travelled all the way to South Africa, and then jumped all the way to England? Man, you can't. It's I'm getting annoyed just to even say it. You see, this is the thing. I know it's the spirit of the Lord, but when you hear this, it don't make no sense, all right? But it is where it is, okay? So it says London, all 32 London boroughs plus City of London is on lockdown. South East, I'm not going to go through all of them, all right? So the South East of England, that's what we're talking about. London, the city, all right? And then, you know, inside of the M25, more or less, which the M25 is like a road or a freeway. I don't know how you say it on the other side of the pond, but I feel like it's freeway. That basically surrounds the whole of London, all right, the city of London, uh, southeast of England and east of England. So all of those regions basically are on lockdown, right? So I didn't even know Hertfordshire was east of England. Hmm. All right. So it says, when is the next lockdown review? The next formal review of tiering decisions will take place by 30th December 2020. Right, and initially when they implemented the lockdown going back to, it was on December 20th, and they said they needed they needed it for 10 days, and then would review it. Sorry, man. And then they said they would review it on the 30th of December. Right, and lo and behold, look at what's happening now. Don't look like we're gonna get out of this mess, all right, without them having to go into a deeper tear. And it will determine if 2021 will be another year locked inside. And it will be, man. All right. You had the WHO head spokesman or whoever he was basically came out and said this ain't the last pandemic we'll witness. All right. There's going to be plenty more. So, like, the Gates sat down and they said that you people that don't believe the crown is real, and they laughed amongst themselves and said, wait and see what will happen. There's going to be more, all right? It's going to be a time like never before, all right? That's what we got to remember. A time like never before. Never that's been before this time is going to be like this. And never after is going to be a time like this. This is when Satan gets to run free and run riot, all right? This is the pinnacle, the height of wickedness on the earth. And for the sole purpose for the Heavenly Father to establish that this is what happens when evil rules, all right? And then for us to know and to be put in the right position. See, the Lord is a tactician, all right? So when we're put in position, we have an example to look back to as to why we execute the judgments of the Heavenly Father upon the earth, all right? So reading on it says, the government says it keeps the data under constant review and is not afraid to act to protect local communities, all right? And even when I'm reading that, I'm thinking, what kind of data? Because that means, data's on people, right? And they may determine people risks and then implement certain things in place to more or less let you know, like, yo, yeah, don't worry about what I'm saying. I'm going somewhere else. It says data assessed includes how quickly case rates are going up or down. Cases in the over 60s, pressure on the NHS and local circumstances. Where regions are densely populated, like the City of London, alright? Got like 9 million people in the city, 8 million. With lots of people travelling between areas, tears must be targeted at the appropriate level to protect people and control transmission. Alright? So I'm going to read this article. I mentioned it a fourth time. Just now I just mentioned it and I'm going to read it again. This is when the disciples came unto Yahushua and asked him what would be, what signs would they know when he returns. So I want to read this. It's Matthew 24:20. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. All right? So right now we're in the midst of the winter days. Okay? For then shall be great tribulation such as not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. All right. So again, this is a height of wickedness, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. All right, and that's what's gonna happen. The Lord is shortening the days. The days are flying by. All right, and that's why He's doing it, so the elect can be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. See. So with that, man, I pray you're edified. It's happy.